Hi there. Welcome to the Tuesday night show. It's been completely insane. How else can I put it? The news has been insane. Getting ready for the show has been insane. Insane is the key word for tonight. So I'm hoping people have a lot to say because I just want to read it and listen. Tonight's show is supposed to be a call-in show, but for tonight, actually it wasn't supposed to be a call-in show, but now it's a call-in show. It's a long story. Anyway, the Tuesday night show was supposed to be a panel show, but what happened was a lot of people were too, concerned about coming on because of the repercussions. Yes, you heard me correctly. In America today, people are afraid to put their face on a YouTube live show because of the repercussions from white folks. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. It's a little scary out there. And so we got to keep fighting. And it feels so easy to give up. I know for me, it's so tempting to just say, I quit. I can't take this. People don't care. People aren't voting. People aren't standing up for groups of people. Stevie, hello. Thank you for being here. It's been a disaster, but hopefully we'll have a lot to say. Oh, Anton, hi. Pesky witch. No number to call in yet. I'm still working on it, but thank you for asking, Pesky witch. Pesky witch, you scare me. Pesky witch, it's kind of funny. But tonight's show is going to be a little different. And of course, tomorrow, Neil, hi, thank you for being here. I have a crazy show for tonight. It's been a crazy day with lots of kind of bad news, I guess. Lots of things happening. We have, this show is supposed to be a panel show, but people are afraid to come on. So there's not a lot I can do because I understand that. So we're going to make it a call-in show. That has been a little bit rough. All right, a little bit rough. Baking Fly, oh, there's no number yet tonight because there's too many trolls coming in. So I only could give the number to a bunch of people who I know. And once the people who just don't really, once the people who don't really want to be here, they're just here to kind of be silly and stuff. Once they're gone, then I will be giving that number out left and right. In fact, there's a program that I have to learn to use, and that program will help, to screen people. I'm really excited about it. I just couldn't pull it together tonight, so I don't have a number, and I apologize. But we'll have to do a little bit of Pat. Yay! Thank you for being here. We have to do a little bit of typing. I have a bunch of stuff to show you. So welcome to the Tuesday night Crazy Insane panel show. And thank you for being here. And what I'm going to do is do a quick rundown on what's going on tonight. And some of it's a little scary. So hang in there with me and we can have a short show tonight. If it doesn't go well, it's fine. So here's the bottom line. Let me see. I'm Angry Soccer Mom for people who don't know me. I run this YouTube channel. I have a live show every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 Eastern. And it's on Wednesdays, it's your voice, your choice of topics surrounding the subject of racism, bigotry, and inequality. And when I talk about racism, I'm not talking about personal racism, like someone being, nasty. I'm talking about the system. It's systemic. And if you don't know what that is, not a problem. I got a lot of videos on it. So just hit up my YouTube channel and find the beginner series, and you'll get a little bit of everything. So tonight's show is going to be a little strange because the fact that we're kind of in transition, trying to figure out what this show is. But tomorrow's show is going to be any topic you choose. I'm going to prep some topics from 9, and we'll go to midnight if we need to. All right, so bear with me while I get the phone stuff going on. I almost had it tonight. but not quite. All right, so here's what I have for you guys, and I want to know what you think. I don't know about you, but I've been a little depressed about the news that's been going on. I have a video on the Iowa caucus to give everyone a quick update because it's kind of like fluid in real time, and I want to know what you think. A lot of people don't watch the Iowa caucuses except for this year's kind of special, because a lot of folks who are very unhappy with Trump, they're starting to get more involved. And then I have Robert Reich is a guy he's my go-to guy. He's a Berkeley professor. He worked with some of the past administrations. He's a brilliant guy. And he's a really good teacher, too. So having a good teacher is awesome. I have 2 videos from him. And then I want us to poke our head in the State of the Union. As much as it kind of pains me to do so, I think it could be a little interesting and give us some talking points, or griping points, or ranting points, or I don't know. It's not good. I think he's kind of delusional, and it's really, really scary what's happening to our nation, because here's the thing. For me, Trump and his politics, I really could care less about. I'm not into his politics. I don't even think he's into his politics. He's an inhumane person, and there's an order of operations in which I support people. If you aren't humane, you're out. This isn't about politics for me. It's about acting like a human freaking being. And he doesn't. And the people around him are scared of him. Therefore, they are not acting like humans. Humans think. They don't do things that are ludicrous. They have common sense. They stand up for their constituency. They do what's right. And they're not. So he's surrounded by a bunch of clan that they just are so afraid of his power that it's pretty out of control. So I'm really, really concerned. The impeachment, oh my goodness, or lack thereof, was a joke with no people watch, no, my God, no witness. I mean, it's a joke. It's in my mind, at least in my lifetime, it's the biggest. Yeah, it's a joke. It's a total scam. There was no impeachment. It was just they walked through the motions, and no paperwork, no witnesses. I mean, this has been insane. And I think, like I keep saying, this is kind of it for our democratic republic. When a president is above the law, it's not a democratic republic anymore. It's a dictatorship. And I mean, I hate to speak the obvious, but maybe it's more like an oligarchy. I don't know. Maybe somebody could teach me, because it's a group of people. It's just really scary. He's successfully circumvented the Constitution of the United States. And so we're not going by the Constitution anymore. And if people would just stop their desire and need for such a racist president, they could think and go, oh my God, this is not good. Because I promise you, the Trump supporters who love him, watch what he does as a dictator. If you think he's like this now, you really think he's on your team, you will see some scary shit going on. He does not give a flying fuck about anybody but himself and his rich friends. He does not care about his constituents. Okay? And I'm not saying that as nanny doesn't care about you. It's watch his behavior. He truly, he's narcissistic. He's a mentally ill man. He just doesn't get it. So, we might, let me see here. I'm going to just spread this out. Well, when someone thinks their money gets them out of whatever, then that person has basically no fear of anything. Yeah, absolutely. He is used to getting his way. He gets what he wants. He uses his money to do so. And it's kind of worked for him. And now he is in power. He's circumvented the Constitution and done everything he possibly can do to do that. And what he's done is he's taken the three checks and balances, and he's kind of immersed himself in with half of our Congress, the Senate. He owns them. The judiciary, I mean, unfortunately, he's been able to stack that up through getting these people in who are absolutely inhumane. And he's taken, it's a power grab. And a power grab from the executive branch means we don't have a balance of checks and balances. And it's really scary. And then there's that one other part. There's one other part of those three that I'm not really sure where we put them right now. The people, the masses. We're not doing enough. The masses of people aren't doing enough. Why do I say this? Because he'd be gone by now if we were. Okay? Because there's too many people doing nothing. Because, you know, things are going okay for them. They just don't kind of get it. And it's a real disappointment. So today's probably going to be a little short show, but I wanted to come on and tell you, hang in there with me. I will get this show going, and it will be amazing. Okay? Because I'm going to have Colin, and I'm going to have somebody screening for people who are silly. So let's get this started. Tonight, I'm going to show you a video of the Iowa caucuses and then ask people to tell me what they think, what they know, what they see, what they feel. I want to know. Okay? We'll talk about it. Then Robert Reich has a State of the Union video. And then we can peek in on Trump and see what he is boasting and what kind of lies and ludicrous stuff he's got going. And then I want to show you something that Robert Reich did again. He has solutions. He has solutions, and there are solutions. And he is a brilliant, easy, simple solution. And I want to know what you think. Okay? So hang in there with me tonight, and we will get it going. So let me start off with, and anyway, I wanted to also tell you guys, a lot of things are kind of happening at once, like going downhill. Like the Iowa caucus was kind of a mess. Well, it's a complicated thing that they do. It's kind of interesting and kind of strange if you don't live there. And I mean, I watched a lot of it and I was like, okay, this is really crazy. And I don't boast to know much about it, but I do know that that's usually a very much centerpiece of the kickoff of the, you know, trying to find a candidate. Anton, let me see. It's all part of the satanic elite agenda. The society's shown its true colors, and now the whole world has a front row seat to the madness. Absolutely. And you know, I was talking to my friend on here, and she just reminded me of a really, really great point. And that is simply, she told me she feels more comfortable now that Trump is the president. And I won't speak for her, but I can definitely say that I kind of get it. Because she said she feels like the society and our culture matches the president. There's no more cognitive dissonance. Liberty and justice for all. Well, Trump's not into that. Come on. This is just the Constitution, and he's not into it. And so the bottom line is our true country is being revealed more than ever. This is our culture. How do we know this? Once again, Trump is in office. And if we didn't want this, he wouldn't be. And I get it. Like, you know, we don't have common sense gun laws, even though scores of people from either party want that. I mean, it's not even a close call. It's way up there. But I'm sorry, but a lot of our Congress people are fucking wimps. I'm just going to say it. They have no backbone, and all they care about is their wealth, power, and prestige. They do not truly care. Or they would do the right thing. Common sense gun laws? Hello, common sense. So don't even get me started. The whole thing is ludicrous in my mind. I feel like they're absolutely disgusting and ridiculous. I don't know. Hey, Hey, Wyatt, how are you? Thanks for being here. Oh, awesome. Anton, I could not find it anywhere. I am really technically not good, and I am so sorry, Anton. Oh my gosh, but I'm glad you're here. So let's check this out. This is a very short video, and it's going to talk about the Iowa caucuses, and it's going to kind of give a quick rundown. It's just been out for like a minute or something. Okay, so check this out. Tell me what you think, and if I can get my act together here. I got it. I will put it on, switch it out, put it on, and barely. Okay, there it is. So listen up. Hopefully this will.
Let's get right to those numbers from the Iowa Democratic Party. 62% of precincts reporting from all 99 counties. And here they are. You can see that Pete Buttigieg is presently leading the state delegate count with 27%. Bernie Sanders with 25%. Elizabeth Warren in third at 18%. And Joe Biden presently trailing in fourth place. Tonight, Iowa indecision after nearly a day of chaos and confusion. Our first snapshot of the caucus results, but only part of them, showing strong support for Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders. Buttigieg speaking out late tonight.
And no matter what happens next, this much is undeniable. That fact represents an astonishing victory for this campaign.
The head of Iowa's Democratic Party tonight calling the system breakdown unacceptable.
As chair of the party, I apologize deeply for this.
The decision to put out incomplete numbers infuriating contenders like Elizabeth Warren.
I think they ought to get it together and release all of the data. That's what we need.
And Sanders pressed by NBC News whether Democratic voters will lose confidence in the process.
This is not a good thing. Your question is a fair question. I think this is not a good night for democracy.
All of it coming after a caucus night that for Democrats produced anger and embarrassment.
I've never seen anything like it.
Neither have I.
Caucus goers and candidates frustrated by the stunning failure to release the final results after problems with a new app precinct captains were supposed to use. Many trying to phone in their figures.
I couldn't get through. I tried a number of times.
We were on hold for about 30 minutes.
This is elevator music.
We have 1,600 caucus sites.
The state's Democratic Party first pointing to inconsistencies in the reported data, insisting this is not a hack or an intrusion. Then today blaming a coding issue with that app that was intended to speed up the reporting of results. Late last night, even with no numbers released, some 2020 contenders claiming victory before heading on to New Hampshire.
By the time it's all said and done, Iowa, you have shocked the nation.
Meanwhile, President Trump delighting in the Democrats' disarray, tweeting, "The Democrat caucus is an unmitigated disaster. Nothing works, just like they ran the country." And tonight, growing questions whether Iowa's status as host of the nation's first presidential contest will survive.
What does this mean for the future of the Iowa caucuses?
Nothing good. The Iowa caucuses have to defend themselves every 4 years. And frankly, it's kind of difficult to defend even when things go well.
The delay here not just chaotic but consequential, robbing the winner of important momentum and allowing those who did poorly here to avoid negative headlines, raising the stakes for the New Hampshire primary, Lester, 1 week from today. Hey, NBC.
Okay. Wow. So that was a little crazy. Give me 2 seconds here and I will zoop. Find my spot again and figure out what is going on. I don't know if you could hear that well. Let me just get over here. There we go. So what do you guys think? I mean, that was a disaster. They'll pull it together, I'm sure, but part of the thing is the Democratic Party needs to get their shit together. I mean, does anyone have a comment? It's not good. And you know, Right now we have a very, very hateful person in the White House and very, very fearful people surrounding him. They can't come up to him and say anything for fear of retribution, and he'll put his people against them and make them lose. And some things matter more than winning. Doing the right thing, being a good human being, and I'm really sad that it's kind of come to that. But Anton, I'm just glad Biden's losing. Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a lot of folks who are into him. I thought that was very interesting. I'm not thrilled. So tell me, just before we watch another one, because this is going to get real interesting. What do you guys think of all these, the Iowa caucuses and the kind of mess up of the Democratic stuff there? I mean, Iowa caucuses are really strange, I have to say. It's a kind of a weird thing, but this seems like it was just a mess. So, what do you guys think? I was a little surprised about Pete Buttigieg. If I had to pick somebody I would want at this moment, I would say I'm an anyone but Trumpster. 100%. Just because, not because of his politics, because he's not a nice human being. And that comes first for me. Then all the politics stuff, which I probably wouldn't agree with a lot of it. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because he is not a nice person. And I'm sorry, we don't know all the decisions that he's going to make in his tenure as president. We don't know. But if you start out with the guy being a horrific human being, like super overtly racist, super misogynistic, bigoted as hell, and then kind of full of shit, actually. Like, he bans people from certain countries from coming in who are Muslim majority countries, yet the ones that terrorized us from 9/11, they're okay to come in. I mean, he's full of shit, basically. And it's kind of disgusting and embarrassing. He has been an embarrassment for anyone who cares about our Constitution, common sense, and actually cares about our fellow humans in America and out. So it's pretty bad. I think personally, if we don't get a highly, highly progressive group into Washington, not just, middle of the road status quo, highly progressive, so we can catch up to all the other countries. A lot of the Scandinavian countries are killing us with, people's happiness in income, less poverty, better education. I mean, we're behind the times. I know for the supposed developed nations, America has absolutely the last in women, caring for women who are having babies. The prenatal care and the infant mortality rate and the mom mortality rate. We don't value our women, and unless they're extremely rich, in which case we might value them more. Why Shane Williamson didn't make it this far? She had a great reparations plan. Yeah, she had some. What I liked about her was that she really put it on the table. I don't think if she had have not been running, I don't think that reparations would be even a word. And I think she really put it out there. She forced the hand of the other people in the Democrats and made it so they had to make a reparations plan. They had to face the fact that we have systemic racism rampant in our nation. And so she did a real solid for everybody because, like she said, until we try to figure out until we face our past and understand how our past has caused these horrifically cruel problems of our present time, nothing's going to change. and she put it out on the table. And I think that in and of itself is a great thing to get people to start talking. And I liked how she made it clear that there is more than $5 billion owed and that it should be more. Yeah, and even though she had the numbers a little bit kind of off, she put it out there. It was her number one thing. And say what you will about her, because she's kind of a past, you could say. She got it so that it forced the hands of every single Democratic candidate. And that's huge. She brought it into the forefront. And I think that's really big, because right now we're looking at a nation where most white adults in America think we're in a post-racial era. Just ask the Trump supporters. They don't understand. They've been fooled. They've been tricked and fooled and brainwashed. And I mean, we do a pretty good job. We don't teach it in school. Our parents don't teach it. We have a cycle of racism that our parents teach us how to be racist, and they reward it. And when we're little, we're born just, neutral, and our parents help encourage us to hate. And it's a cycle, just like the cycle of poverty that we do to very impoverished people by, redlining them into poor districts or only having areas that are impoverished. And we all know where our schools get the money for taxes. A lot of it's from the infrastructure of that city. Well, if you have nothing going on in that city, you're kind of screwed. So anyway, great comments. I'm sad she's out, but her influence remains. And I think that's a really, really cool thing that she did. I certainly don't think it'll do anything. Personally, this nation doesn't even face the fact that we have systemic racism. We have never taken racial responsibility as a nation. Never. You can say, oh, well, this person apologized once. No, you can't apologize for abusing your own citizens when you're still doing it. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. Like I always say, it's like smacking your spouse in the face and apologizing for hitting her. I'm sorry about the abuse as you smack her. Give me a break. We're still doing it. Nobody really knows how I feel about reparations because my opinion as a white woman is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's not my place. Yeah, there's too much white. There's too much white fragility in our culture. And it's really not necessary. Once you learn about our real racial history, there's no reason to have white fragility unless you did something wrong. People always tell me, oh, you just are so guilty. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're misunderstanding. I don't feel guilty. I'm pissed. This nation could be so amazing, as flawed personally as our founding fathers, many of them were. They wrote a document that was brilliant and should be able to stand the test of time and move with time. But I don't think they anticipated someone like Trump and the fearful, fearful people who surround him to be wimps. And basically, I think they're as guilty as he is. And, I feel, let me see. Chariot Man Gaming. Hey, what's up? I have a big question for you. U.S. is a strong country now, but how strong will the U.S. be if Black Americans had businesses and the same opportunities just like white Americans? Chariot Man Gaming, it would be kicking ass. Kicking ass is what it would be. And the minute either everything has to, I guess, switch to, so the white people aren't the majority, or the minute white folks come to their senses and understand, that's a great comment, understand we have a common plight together. We have a common plight. It's not brown, black, and indigenous people who are ruining your life. It's the wealthiest elite who have laws that make them richer and everyone else is struggling. When we talk about a great economy, we have a great economy for wealthy people. Not for everyone else. Everyone else is killing themselves, okay? If you think about our standard of living, on every front, people have 2-3 jobs. People are underemployed. I know a guy with a PhD who works at Walmart. Okay? He's not a manager. He works as a cashier for whatever they pay. He has a PhD. Okay? People are underemployed and we are not utilizing. Can you imagine what Chariot Man Gaming, I love you. What you just said, imagine no hate. What could happen if we all got together and really had liberty and justice for all and really made this nation, it's like to build a more perfect nation, we have everything we need except the people. The white folks, not all of them, but enough that we got Trump. We just don't get it. We're not educated enough to get it. And that's why everything I do, I don't hate white people. I know we can do better than this. And it's 2020. Every generation has played the fool. It's time for equity. No, not everybody is going to reach equality. That's like more, I don't know, maybe that's not socialism. It's kind of communism. I don't know. I'm not talking about that. Equity. People have an equal chance. If you're starting way down here because you couldn't accumulate wealth for hundreds of years, then you don't have equity. I'm sorry. If you're being redlined generation after generation into impoverished school districts that don't teach as well as the wealthy school districts, we're dooming our own society. And unfortunately, the white folks are being fooled. And it's not good for them either. They just don't know it. They just don't know it. It's not good for... Gigi, hello. Looks like Trump trolls are busy tonight. You know what? This is probably the least we've had in a long time. But yeah, a little bit. So tell me what you think. A lot of folks are constantly accusing me of hating white people. It's like, that's just another excuse to kind of deflect the problem. The problem is we need to face our own racial history, get some equity going. Can you imagine how cool it is? And I know a lot of white folks are scared when they see a black person. They won't admit it, but please, give me a break. They're not scared like, oh my God, but they're, a little bit, because they have all the stereotypes. They're vicious, they're dangerous, they're this. We've all studied it, we all know. Can you imagine how cool it would be if life weren't like that? Just imagine. For them, oh my God, forget about us. Just think how... I have friends who basically get tense the minute they walk out the door because they know that they got to watch it, they're very careful. I could go on, and that's not what our topic is tonight, but what I wanted to say was to form a more perfect union. Those founding fathers, they might have been flawed themselves, but they wrote an incredibly brilliant thing. They gave us a gift, okay? And we're just losing it. We don't care. And when I say we, I mean because if we cared, we wouldn't have Trump circumventing. People would be calling their Congress people and saying, you vote that man out, or you will not see my vote. But no, we've been, white folks have been fooled into working for the wealthiest elite for free. And the wealthiest elite thank them for their service every day as they get richer and richer and richer. Pat, some won't even take a seat by a black person. Oh, absolutely. Oh, we are sliding back. We are sliding back. And Jamie, hi, thank you for being here. The truth told a South African president to give the land back to the white people, or he will put sanctions against South Africa. Oh, Trump told a South African president to give the land back to the white people, or he will put sanctions against South African economy. Yeah, Trump's an overt racist, and I can't speak to that because I haven't read enough about it, but yeah, he's an overt racist. He's a white supremacist. It's not like a debatable point. he is. I feel that he is absolutely the de facto modern leader of the, Ku Klux Klan for the world. And we've seen that impact. He's empowered people to be absolutely cruel to their fellow humans. And it's disgusting. My dream for our generation, our set of years that we live here, would be to eradicate and educate people about anti-racism education. It's not hard. You just have to be willing to do it. It takes a long time because we are absolutely inundated from birth. White is right, white is right, white is right. Now, not everybody has equal privilege, that's true. But you might be having a rough time with your finances, which thank the wealthiest elite and the racists. You might be having a rough time with, your work, your personal life. But if you're white, you're not having a rough time because of the color of your skin. And that is privilege. It doesn't mean you have a great life. It doesn't mean you're rich. So people need to understand that. People need to learn, but they don't want to because it's really fun to be hateful. Being hateful is easy. Anyone can do it. Trying to be peaceful and love our fellow humans, that's the hard part. And people are like, we don't want to have to think. We got to delve down deep and think when people tell us something, is that real? Is it not? We got to figure it out. And unfortunately, people thinking hurts. It's hard and they don't want to. So it's kind of a toughie. But let me take a pat. He thinks money can get him out of anything. And actually, I understand why he thinks that because it can. It has. He has not had. Goskilla, hello. Thanks for being here. Moppy. He hasn't had consequences for his behavior probably pretty much ever. What he did to the people who were trying to rent from him, people who are black, brown, indigenous, and of color, and he wouldn't let them. He got caught. And instead of stopping his nonsense, you can't, I guess, how do I put this? You can't change somebody's heart. You can't litigate kindness. You can certainly try, but a person who is hateful in their heart, they'll find a way around it. Just ask Trump. He finds a way around everything, but then he lies a lot. And so his folks just stopped trying. And it is overwhelming. But they stopped trying. And once you stop trying, that's it. And unfortunately, the independents and all the Democrats, it's not enough. It's not enough to be nice to everybody. Democracy is not free. Freedom's not free. And I feel sick for all the people who fought for all of us and came ahead of us, that we are allowing this man and his very fearful clan of, senators and his emboldened clan of very ignorant, lost souls is what I would say. We are letting them destroy our democratic republic. It's really sad. Think of all the people who died. Even the people who, way back when, who fought for this, who maybe were flawed, and maybe they weren't perfect people, and maybe they couldn't see it to make their, to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm a moral, good person, because they couldn't live with what they knew was right. But even they who wrote the Constitution gave us something, despite the horrible personal stuff that they may have done. That's all we have right now. We don't really have a choice. Like, oh, get rid of that because, they were this. Does anyone know of another way? I don't. We have a Constitution. Trump's destroying it. When our Constitution is gone, which by allowing him to be above the law, it sets a precedent for everybody, for him and after him. The president has done a power grab that has ended the balance of the three the branches. We don't have a democratic republic any longer. You can call it what you want. Dictatorship, oligarchy, crazy man at the top, scared people in the middle. But anyway, the State of the Union. Before it ends, which God knows I get the feeling he's going to talk and talk and talk, it's going to be ridiculous. I want you to hear from Robert Reich because he's a brilliant guy, and I think he kind of says it like it is. And he was a professor at Berkeley. He worked for the former presidents. He's an economic advisor. He's really good. So let's watch that for a minute. I want to know what you think, and then the best one, and then we'll take a peek and see if Trump is still making up his pretend lies and this and that and twisting things and lying, and it's kind of going to be awful. He's a very inhumane man. But listen to what he has to say, because he's pretty darn amazing guy. Let's see if I can get him up. That is not it. Let me find him. Not easy to do. I might have lost him. Uh-oh. Oh. Nope. I apologize for the delay. I hope I don't lose too many people. Okay. That's me. That's him. That's State of the Union. And okay, I have lost him. Let me see. It'll take all but a second for me to bring him up. Maybe. Not sure where he's at, but I will find him. Just give me 2 seconds. I apologize for the delay. Tonight's been a disaster. I think we can all. It's been a bit of a disaster. So this is absolutely Union. Boop. Let's see what we can do here. Union. Boop. And I will try to get it on there. Okay. 6 hours ago. Got it. Let me see if we can do this. Hopefully. Maybe not. Might have a commercial. Uh-oh. Okay, things aren't going well. I apologize. I'm going to go back to where I was. Bear with me. Wah! Unfortunately, I cannot get that up right now, and I'm not sure why. I have it, but I just can't get it. He basically explains what's going on, and he does it in a really cool way. So I will try in just a little bit to get it, but before, what we can do is we can switch over and peek in to see. Oh, I found it. Yay, I found it. Get ready. Awesome.
An impeached president on trial and up for re-election will be delivering a State of the Union address to the most divided union in living memory. He'll be giving his address to both his jurors and prosecutors, and most importantly, to the voters that will decide his fate in November. It's not unprecedented for an impeached president to give a State of the Union address. Bill Clinton delivered his State of the Union in 1999 while in the middle of his Senate trial, but that's where the similarities end. Clinton was not up for re-election when he gave his speech, so he didn't need to employ any campaign-style rhetoric. Trump is a polarizing, divisive president who's addressing an America that has never been so divided. But this begs the question, why are we so divided? We're not fighting a hugely unpopular war on the scale of Vietnam. We're not in a deep economic crisis like the Great Depression. Yes, of course, we disagree about guns, abortion, and immigration, but we've disagreed about them for decades. So why are we so divided now? Ferocious partisanship is not new. Newt Gingrich, the Republican Speaker of the House who led the House's impeachment investigation into Clinton, pioneered the combative partisanship we're used to today. But today's divisions are far deeper than they were then. Now, part of the answer is Trump himself. The great divider knows how to pit native-born Americans against immigrants, the working class against the poor, whites against blacks and Latinos, evangelicals against secularists, keeping everyone stirred up by vilifying, disparaging, denouncing, defaming. and accusing others of the worst. Trump thrives off disruption and division. But that begs another question. Why have we been so ready to be divided by Trump? One theory is the underlying tension that an older, whiter, and less educated America, concentrated in rural areas, is losing out to a new America that's younger, more diverse, more educated, and concentrated in urban areas. These trends, while much more prominent these days, have been going on since the start of the 20th century. So why are they causing so much anger now? Another hypothesis is that we're geographically sorting ourselves into Republican and Democratic regions of the country, surrounding ourselves with like-minded neighbors and friends, so we no longer talk with people who have opposing views. But why are we doing this? The rise of social media, sensationalizing our differences in order to attract eyeballs and advertisers, plays a crucial role in exacerbating the demographic and geographic trends I just mentioned, but it alone isn't responsible for our polarized nation. Together, all of these factors contribute to the political schism we're experiencing today, but none of them alone point to any large, significant change in the structure of our society that can account for what's happened. Let me have a go. In the fall of 2015, I visited Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Missouri, and North Carolina for a research project I was doing then on the changing nature of work. I spoke with many of the same people I had met 20 years before when I was Secretary of Labor, as well as with some of their grown children. What I heard surprised me. 20 years before, many had said that they had been working hard and were frustrated they weren't doing better, but now that frustration had been replaced by full-blown anger. Anger toward their employers, the government, Wall Street. Many had lost jobs, savings, or homes in the Great Recession following the financial crisis of 2008, or knew others who had. By the time I spoke with them, most were back in jobs, but the jobs paid no more than they had 2 decades before. In terms of purchasing power, many paid less. I heard the term rigged system so often, I began asking people what they meant by it. They spoke about flat wages, shrinking benefits, and growing job insecurity. They talked about the bailout of Wall Street, political payoffs, insider deals, soaring CEO pay, and crony capitalism. These complaints came from people who identified as Republicans, Democrats, and independents. A few had joined the Tea Party, while a few others had been involved in the Occupy movement. With the 2016 political primaries looming, I asked them which candidates they found most attractive. Now, at that time, Democratic Party insiders favored Hillary Clinton and Republican insiders favored Jeb Bush. Yet no one I spoke with mentioned Clinton or Bush. They talked instead about Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. When I asked why, they said Sanders or Trump would shake things up, or make the system work again, or stop the corruption, or end the rigging. In the following year, Sanders, a 74-year-old Jew from Vermont who described himself as a democratic socialist and wasn't a registered Democrat until the 2016 presidential primaries, came within a whisker of beating Clinton in the Iowa caucus, routed her in the New Hampshire primary, and ended up with 46% of the pledged delegates to the Democratic primaries and caucuses. Trump, a 69-year-old egomaniacal billionaire reality TV star who had never held elective office or had anything to do with the Republican Party, and who lied compulsively about everything, won the Republican primaries, and then went on to beat Clinton, one of the most experienced and well-connected politicians in modern America, although he didn't win the popular vote and had some help from the Kremlin. Something very big had happened, and it wasn't due to Sanders' magnetism or Trump's likability. It was a rebellion against the establishment. That rebellion is still going on. Although much of the establishment still denies it, they've come up with myriad explanations for Trump's ascendance, some with validity, some without. It was hatred of Obama. It was hatred of Hillary. It was people voting third party. It was racism and xenophobia. Now, It's important to note that although racism and xenophobia in America date to before the founding of the Republic, they have never before been so central to a candidate's appeal and message as they've been with Trump.
Change it, and specifically when you said they're rapists, and some I assume are good people, but you don't have any regrets about that word rapists.
And some are good, and some are rapists, and some are killers.
Aided by Fox News and an army of right-wing outlets, Trump has used the underlying frustrations of the working class and channeled them into bigotry. But this was hardly the first time in history a demagogue has used this cynical ploy. Trump convinced many blue-collar workers feeling ignored by the powers that be that he was their champion. Hillary Clinton did not convince them that she was. Her decades of public service ended up being a negative, not a positive. She was indubitably part of the establishment, the epitome of decades of policies that had left these blue-collar workers in the dust. It's notable that during the primaries, Bernie Sanders did far better than Clinton with blue-collar voters. A direct line connects the 4-decade stagnation of wages with the bailout of Wall Street, the rise of the Tea Party and briefly Occupy, and the successes of Sanders and Trump in 2016. By 2016, Americans understood that wealth and power had moved to the top. Big money had rigged our politics. This was the premise of Sanders' 2016 campaign. It was also central to Trump's appeal. Remember him saying, "I'm so rich I can't be bought off," which he quickly reneged on once elected, delivering everything big money could have imagined. The most powerful force in American politics today continues to be anti-establishment fury at a rigged system. Vicious partisanship, record-breaking economic inequality, and the resurgence of white supremacy are all byproducts of this rigged system. The biggest political battle today isn't between left, right, or center. It's between Trump's authoritarian populism and democratic, small d, populism. Democrats cannot defeat authoritarian populism without an agenda of radical democratic reform, an anti-establishment movement that tackles runaway inequality and heals the racial wounds Trump has inflicted. Even though he's a Trojan horse for big corporations and the rich, giving them all the tax cuts and regulatory rollbacks they've ever wanted, he still has large swaths of the working class convinced he's on their side. Democrats must stand squarely on the side of democracy against oligarchy. We must form a unified coalition of people of all races, genders, sexualities, and classes, and band together to unrig the system. Trump isn't the cause of our divided nation. He's the symptom of a rigged system that was already dividing us. It's not enough to defeat him. We must reform the system that got us here in the first place to ensure that no future politician will ever again imitate Trump's authoritarian demagoguery. For now, let's boycott the State of the Union and show the ratings-obsessed demagogue that the American people refuse to watch an impeached president continue to divide us.
Let me see here. My goodness. If I still have people around, I'll consider myself very happy. I don't know what you thought, but Robert Reich is one of the most experienced, knowledgeable, sensible people out there. He has incredible experience, and I don't know what you guys thought of that, but he is absolutely spot on as far as I feel. What do you guys think? Ghost Killa got things to do. Peace. Okay, should I take off? Jamie, Trump gave Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Human Award. Right, of course he did. And really sad because it's kind of like the opposite, but I expected nothing less. Hello?
Just want to say hello.
Hi. Do you have a comment to make? Welcome to the show.
Well, it's my first time. I just want to let you know I'm watching, and it's interesting.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, did you watch the Robert Reich video? What do you think?
Yeah, he had a lot to say.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he had a lot to say. Some of which I already know, but he'll have been part of the system, and
yeah.
Trump more likely to make changes than what she was. But
I think.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in and telling me you're watching. That makes me really happy. We're going to work on having this show be a show where people can call in. So I'm working on it. Bear with me. Thanks for calling. Right. You're a sweetheart.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for calling in. How exciting. Our first call. Goodness. Now, I did give the number out to a bunch of people, so if you have comments, jump right in and ask, because 10 o'clock, we're fair game. What do you guys think about, his video came out a little bit late for the whole thing with, oh, Tony, hi. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We started out a little rough today, getting my act together, but this Tuesday show is experimental in nature, and I'm hoping it'll really pick up. We're going to get a consistent call-in where people have the number, and I can kind of watch for folks that are just calling in to be goofballs and stuff like that. The Wednesday show is on as usual, kind of consistent and the same format. But this one was supposed to be a panel show. But a lot of the folks that I asked to come were apprehensive because of the current climate of extreme, systemic racism, and a lot of personal racism, and people are feeling very, emboldened, and it's really scary. Hello, welcome to the show. Did you want to say something?
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Going great. Thanks for calling in. What's up?
Sorry, I have laryngitis, and I got to the show late, but I definitely wanted to call in and comment.
Okay. What do you have to say? Did you watch the Robert Reich video by chance?
See, I came in late and I missed it, but I've loved Robert Reich for years.
Oh, that's awesome. Isn't he great?
I've had my eye on him.
Yeah, he just kind of gets it. Yeah, he's a good guy. We're at a scary time.
And he's an economist, so he has this direct kind of understanding of how money plays a part in all of this, and how money influences the classism in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really seems to get it. He really does. I love that. And he's a teacher.
Yeah, and
he's a teacher.
And I like how he kind of makes the connection between money and power. The perceived power in the country is directly tied to the money, and who's allowed to have a little bit of it and who's allowed to have a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that goes the same for white people, which is why I really dig your show, because white people need to understand that there's a foot on their neck too.
Absolutely.
They just have a few more privileges.
Right. They don't understand that we're all in a common plight, but they're fooled by, there's a lot of propaganda out there, and it's very purposeful. Lyndon B. Johnson, he has this, I'll put his saying right up, and I haven't memorized it, but boy, if you make people feel special, like maybe someday they'll be able to, get rich too.
Right.
Give them someone to look down
and that's a recurring Republican theme, is they vote for the idea that they will become rich, not the reality of their financial situation.
Absolutely. And it's kind of, it's kind of interesting how it's happened, but we've been fooled. We really have been fooled.
And we've been fooled for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And when you figure it out, you get trolled. When you talk about it, you get trolled.
Yes, you do. Yep. So I've noticed, but I'm so pleased that you're on, with the show and everything, and calling in. That's awesome. Made my day.
No, I want to support you because it's important that even though you get all this resistance, you keep saying the same message and you keep putting it out there.
Yeah, you just have to keep saying it over and over again. Well, I mean, we can just ask Trump. He repeats things over and over and over, and then all of a sudden they come true. I wonder if it'll work for me.
Right.
I don't know, but
right. Most of us are never going to get to the game that he's playing.
Yeah, it's a really tough. It's a toughie. But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. You're such a sweetheart.
No problem.
Yay. And I'll get
Have a good evening.
I'll get it all straightened out so everyone can call. All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. How exciting. Well, I'm going to look up Lyndon B. Johnson because I should have had that saying right there the entire time. Right in front. Because it's such an important thing. He got it. He understood that we were all being fooled. And I'm going to look it up. Give me 2 seconds. This is one of the most haphazard shows I've ever done, and I'm saying that proudly. Let me see if you can. Let me see if I can grab that. Oh, it's giving me trouble. Oh, let me see. There we go. I finally got it. He said, and I don't want to misquote him because it's a really, really huge thing. Let me find it. Give me a second. Bear with me. It's true if you can convince, and it's very antiquated, so please don't be offended. I'm reading a quote from a person who was, from long ago, but he got this. And white folks today don't get it. And we need to get it. We need to get it. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down upon, and he'll empty his pockets for you. And I promise you, I should have that quote memorized verbatim, word for word, because we are being fooled. White folks, we have a common plight with everybody who's not the wealthiest elite. Okay? And whenever we start, like if you read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, what she says is, whenever we start getting closer, we get a little propaganda thrown our way. Black people are this, black people are that, brown people are this, and it works like a charm. We're suckers. And the wealthiest elites in power thank us for working for them for free. So we really need to get it together, and it's education. Does anybody know or ever wonder why people in America, in American schools, why we don't have a comprehensive anti-racism, anti-bigotry education? You would think that could solve everything, and have everybody working at their best capacity, which will only be great for our country. Plus, when you walk around, people won't have to be so, a lot of white folks don't realize how much tension they cause by upholding this ludicrous system made up. It's a human construct. We're all humans. They are so much better off coming together and being peaceful. But when people get really angry, like Robert Reich said, and they're not educated, or they're so angry they can't think straight and use their ability to talk, what happens is they just find somebody and that's their savior. And I think that's what we're seeing. I've never seen anything like it. People who do not want the truth. It's really scary. And Trump is following suit with many, many dictators. If you ever look up dictators, I mean, there's people have studied this. They have PhDs in it. You know, he's following suit with the dictators. He's, you know, everything he does, it's terrifying. If you talk to somebody who, you know, studied or lived in Nazi Germany, he's going for it. And right now, he is destroying our country because he's circumventing the Constitution. And because he just got off on a, you know, this sham trial, he is essentially above the law. And what that does is it makes the checks and balances completely skewed. So there's this huge power grab. And already he's got half of Congress, the Senate, completely hypnotized, you know, completely hypnotized, and like zombies. So it's really crazy. Anyway, anyone else who wants to call in, go for it, and I will get everybody the number so that everyone has it, and I'm going to get screeners going, and bear with me if you can. I think I'm going to probably wrap up the show. Maybe I will show one video and then I will say goodnight to everybody, because I think a lot of folks don't want to watch him with his address, you know, and maybe see the after show. But I'm going to wrap up the show, and what I'm going to try to do is, this is a solution that I've been talking a lot about. Robert Reich, very short video this time. He has a solution, and it's a brilliant solution. It's an easy solution. I want you to hear what he says. I don't want to leave this show with no hope, because today I was pretty down. I was like, okay, the Iowa caucuses were a mess. Trump is a lunatic. He's really, really a hurtful, cruel person. And I think he's going to win in 2020, because I don't think people want to listen to what he's really doing and what's really happening. They don't want to be educated. They just want to be right. He's doing terrible things for the people who vote for him, yet they still support him. It's like really scary. And I think our democratic republic is over, doomed in, unless we get some sort of extreme progressive that can catch us up to 2020 and educate people. But there's a reason that we don't have a education in schools. And that's because the people who have the power to do so do not want it. You ever get jury duty? Tell them you have a master's degree. Tell them you have a PhD. Bye. They don't want people who can think. They don't want people with critical thinking skills. Tell them what you do for a living. They are betting on the least educated people because they think it's easier to sway people who are less educated. It doesn't mean they're dumb people. Absolutely not. It's people who haven't educated themselves. It's nothing to do with intelligence. Okay? It's not an insult. You have not learned to use your critical thinking skills and analytical skills. Then you don't know your real racial history, and you don't know your real facts, and science, it's not that big of a thing for you. You are easily swayed because it's almost like being ultra gullible and, naive. So anyway, let me show you this video. I wanted to say two things before we show the video. This made me happy to hear this. And I actually have some ideas about what he said, of very easy ways to accomplish this. It would just take a whole bunch of people who really, really care about our democratic republic, about our Constitution, and about keeping our nation so that we're headed towards a nation that really is a more perfect union and really does promote liberty and justice for all, not just talking about it, because right now we're talking about it and it's a joke. We don't have liberty and justice for all. If you aren't extremely wealthy, you aren't having liberty and justice. You're probably having to work your ass off to just make ends meet, and it's purposeful. So the other thing was, I got very lucky. One of my friends got me in touch with Philip Scott, who runs an awesome show, and he is gonna do an interview with me about what we do here. So I'm really excited about being on his show. It won't be this Friday, but it'll probably be next Friday. So I just wanted you guys to keep an eye out for that, because that was really exciting for me. I was just thrilled that he wanted to do it. And I love his show. I love what he does. He's got a great thing going. So I appreciate every single person who supported this channel, because for me, it's, yeah, Phil, right? For me, I don't get credit for this. It's like giving people a prize for participating as humans. This is what everyone should be doing. Standing up for our fellow humans. I hope people would do it for me when my group's up. And if Trump continues, every one of our groups is going to be up. I hate to say it. You know, it's just, that's history. Every last one of us. Like many people said, you know, and I won't say it exactly, but Dr. Martin Luther King said when one group is not being treated well, we're all not being treated well. And if you don't have equality, when one group doesn't have it, nobody has it. And people just don't seem to get that. And Martin Niemöller also said that, like I almost say every show. He's a German pastor who was an academic. He watched in Germany while Hitler slowly but surely talked people into hating Jews, blacks, people in the LGBTQ community, what we'd call them now, and made them the enemy. And pretty soon they were the enemy because he said so. And he's the one who wrote, after he got out of his prison, he wrote and spoke to he has a professor at a university, and he'd go around and he'd say, first, and I don't have the exact quote, of course, first he came for the Unionists. I wasn't a Unionist, so I didn't do anything. Next, they came for this group, and I wasn't in that group, so I did nothing. And then they came for me. Thanks, Nails and Glitter. And there was no one left to stand up for me. So, I mean, this is how we roll. We really aren't learning from history. There's not enough folks who care about their fellow humans and understand their plight, their personal plight, even though they might be doing great now, is absolutely tied to the plight of the most vulnerable people. So it's a toughie. Wyatt, you're wonderful. I'm thrilled to have you here. Yeah, his channel, thank you, Nails and Glitter, and he does a lot of stuff. And I'm just really excited, and I want to thank Pat for getting me, he kind of got me the confidence to write to him, and he's been great. We've been writing back and forth. He's incredibly nice person. I've seen a lot of his shows, but just, he's like so like human. It's amazing. I mean, it's really cool. So he's awesome, and there's just so much more I could say, but I want to show you that video because this video kind of gave me hope. And before I show the video, one last thing. My cat's freaking out over there. Tomorrow's show will be absolutely anything. That's my bedtime alarm. Oh my God. This show's been a disaster. Please bear with me. Thank you so much. My God. But tomorrow's show is going to be any topic you want having to do with racism, bigotry, and inequality in America, economic inequality, you name it. There's a million kinds. I got a cat meowing. Maybe my cat will come up here and say hi to everybody. Maybe. There you go. You can put the cat on. There he is. This is Boots. Whoa, stand up. This is Boots. And now he's going to go. That's the cat. Okay. And I hope you all join me tomorrow. It will be much more organized. And don't give up on me on this show. We're going to get the call-in going. All right? So let me show you this, and then I'll say goodnight to everybody. And this gave me hope. And I haven't had a lot of hope recently. I mean, for obvious reasons. So I hope it gives you hope too. Now, to find it. Okay. Ta-da. And get myself out of there. There we go. And I hope this gives you hope. It's really short. Well, relatively short.
If I asked you to name the biggest political party in the United States, what would be your answer? You probably have two guesses that come to mind, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Well, it's neither. Let's look at the last presidential election. 100 million Americans who were eligible to vote in 2016 did not vote. That's a bigger number than the number who voted either for Donald Trump or for Hillary Clinton. In Michigan, for example, where the contest came down to roughly 10,000 votes, it's plausible to say that non-voters were the ones who decided the election. Non-voters, those Americans eligible to vote but don't, are in effect America's biggest political party. And unless we work to reverse this trend, they could decide the next election. So who are these missing voters? They're Americans who are most affected by decades of a broken political system, economic inequality, and laws designed to make it harder to vote. They're people of color, young people, and people with lower incomes. At the same time, studies have shown that these missing voters tend to be more progressive than most voters. For example, non-voters are more likely to support higher taxes to pay for government services, a higher minimum wage, a federal jobs guarantee, and other progressive priorities. There are also 7 million young people of color who weren't old enough to vote in 2016, but will be 18 by the 2020 election. These voters will also be critical to mobilize, all of which means that voter turnout will determine our future. These non-voters are potential voters, and recent elections with record turnout show we're headed in the right direction. The key question is how to get even more of them to the polls. 4 steps. First, make it easier to vote, not harder. Some states have enacted laws to suppress the votes of people of color and young people, such as requiring an ID, reducing the number of polling places in Democratic districts, and purging voter rolls. These tactics must be ended. The Voting Rights Act, which for decades kept some of the worst practices in check until major provisions were struck down by the Supreme Court, must be restored. And we need to make it easier to vote by making Election Day a federal holiday, enacting automatic voter registration, for example, when people turn 18, and voting by mail. Number 2, mobilize young voters. They're a huge potential voting bloc. In the 2018 midterm elections, 36% of voters aged 18 to 29 cast ballots, shattering turnout records from the past quarter century and contributing to major Democratic victories across the country. Number 3, inspire enthusiasm and grassroots energy around big ideas and bold policies, not milquetoast consultant-driven half measures. Look at Stacey Abrams' campaign in 2018. Even though she didn't win, Abrams ran a bold campaign and worked to turn out Democratic voters that had largely been ignored in the red state of Georgia. As a result, Abrams garnered more votes, 1.9 million, than any other Democrat running for any office in the history of the state, including Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Jimmy Carter. Number 4, personally encourage others to vote. Make sure they know how to register and when and where to vote. Tell them to be a voter. Rebuilding America starts with the simple act of voting. If we can activate even a fraction of those 100 million non-voters, we can restore American democracy and make our economy and our democracy work for the many rather than the few. This is why it is so important for you to vote, and urge everyone you know to vote too.
trying to get back here. Trying. That's him. That's me. Hello. Okay, what do you guys think? Okay, what do you think? What do you think? Let me see. Okay, thanks. All right, thank you so much for people who hung in there and watched. Robert Reich is sensible. He's very smart, and he's, as my friend who called in said, he's an economist. He's a very, very good, extremely well-respected economist. He was a professor, I don't know if he still is, at Berkeley, UC Berkeley. He's worked for the federal government, and he's a really good teacher, and he can draw really well. If you see some of his other videos, he draws things out, he explains things well, and they make sense, and he takes parts and puts them together. Complicated things, and makes them make sense. Well, Pat, you have to believe. You got Squat. Hello. Thank you for being here. I know I'm messing up your name. Hugo Squawked. I don't know what I'm saying, but thank you for being here. Yeah, he says things that work for both parties. That's a great point, Nails and Glitter. One of my ideas was if we could get, and I've been kind of researching a little bit online, trying to dig, and I thought I found it, but I didn't. If we can get people if we can get some people who are willing to do a grassroots effort, find 10 people who need a ride, find 10 people who, it doesn't matter, you don't have to know who they're going to vote for or what they're going to do, but all you do need to know is that they are going to vote. Uh-oh, we have a kitty problem. Tonight's been a disaster show, and I apologize, but the coolest thing is like, it's just been disaster after. Now the cat who's mewing his head off, who wants to be on camera again. So it's kind of like when it rains, it pours. And I appreciate anyone, you want to come up? Okay, fine. Come on. Okay, one more time. This is baby Bootsy. Oh, geez. This is baby Bootsy on camera, who's going to do something. So I have to get him, off. But anyway, he's a very sweet, very old cat. And off you go, Niggle. Go play. Sorry about that. He will mew until you pet him, basically. But Robert Reich's video gives me hope. If every one of us can get 10 people or whatever, 5 people, 1 person, anybody, to get out there and vote, most people who don't vote are going to vote, like he said. It's pretty swayed. A lot of people have given up. It's easy to give up. If you're watching what's going on, it's been absolutely devastating what's happening to our democratic republic. Yeah, we have a lot of problems. But when Trump's above the law, the executive branch is above the law, we haven't seen anything. We think we have problems now. We lost our checks and balances. We need to get it back. And this election really, as far as I know, is our only hope. People need to get out there and vote. Because this time it's not just for someone else, it's for our country. Because I know a lot of people are disenfranchised and they just this and that. Well, it's like the story I have. Squeeze Empress, the real black family refused to vote until we see real change. Sorry, no can do. Yeah, and I understand if you feel that way. Who am I to tell you any different? It's, how can I put it? I don't know if that's in your best interest. I don't know. I've never been here. I'm not a politician, and yeah, Nails and Glitter. We've always had problems, but the illusion is broken, and that is true. Like I said, everybody feels that way. I think we will make it fine no matter who is voted in. Doodle? Yeah, I think personally that if Trump wins again, our Democratic, I'm not trying to be the soothsayer of doom, and I want to know what you think. And I don't want to think this, but once he's just circumventing the Constitution. He's trampling the Constitution, the power grab. He's destroying it. And the three branches with the checks and balances, when that ceases to exist, we're not doing our democratic republic anymore. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. And I know a lot of folks say Democrats, Republicans, they're all the same. Well, yeah, but there's little nuances. Maybe, it's nice to have Trump because he shows exactly what we really are. A very racist, bigoted, misogynistic society. But on the other hand, okay, we see it now, and it's not just showing us that, it's going to destroy our nation by making it a dictatorship. And that's where we're headed. And yeah, they might be both bad, but I don't think the Democrats are going to destroy the Constitution. And that's why I really think we need a progressive person in, because I don't know if it'll be fixable. The damage he's done is really bad. He gets elected again. And I don't know. I'm no politician. I study social issues. I've been the sociologist, loving it. That's all I do. But unfortunately, because Trump is so overtly racist, I've had to learn about politics a little bit. And I'll learn till the day I die. I really hate politics. But I'm going to say goodnight. I kept everyone up way too long. Tomorrow night's show, I can promise one thing. It'll be more organized than this one. How's that? That's a promise I can keep. I'm pretty sure I can keep it. But if you believe, like I do, that it's way past time for white America to learn about our own racial history, study it, learn it, not defensively, not out of guilt, out of you care about your fellow human, out of you don't want liberty and justice to be a joke. Liberty and justice for all? Nah, let's be real. Not even close. Okay? I don't want to live a lie. Do you? And also, if you don't study your real racial history, then you are ignorant as to the historical reasons that today's problems are, what's happening today. You don't get it. But, a historical view is ignorant. You don't get it. You're always welcome, Empress. Oh, thanks, Nails and Glitter. Say that Trump thinks he's invincible. Thank you. Those who sided with him have shown who they really are. He's guilty as sin, and they know it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you come tomorrow, too. Tomorrow is much more interactive discussion. Less video, no videos, actually. Just us talking and writing. I think... I have a lot of theories about how these people have disillusioned themselves. Every last one of them is a scary thing. People are afraid of the truth, but they know. They have a regular, normal IQ. NJS. I will give you the number once I get it going. We're not doing that tonight because we had too many people coming in and kind of making a big fuss. Let me see. Thank you so much. Nails and Glitter, I always feel welcome. And no, I can't be a little animated, but I mean no harm. You are fine. I'm always thrilled to have you. And you know what? That's what this is for, is to have me, even though my reading's not so great, is to have me read what you think. Because that matters. What you think matters. So... And I wish I could get more people on it. I just want us to grow as a race. Yes, I want everybody to see a common plight, come together and stop the wealthiest people from destroying our dreams. And sadly, white folks are being fooled and tricked. And we might live our whole lives and be that way. And it's really sad. Because we're not just hurting ourselves, we're hurting our fellow humans. Okay? We all need to come together in a common plight. All right? So thanks for watching. And please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so and ring the bell. I make a according to my stats, I make videos once every single day, which I must have gone nuts sometimes. I don't think I do that, but I make videos about five or 7 days a week. That's what it said. So I was like, who could they be talking about? Sometimes they're from other people, but mostly I'm focusing on videos that I do. So if you want me to make a certain video on a topic, bring it on. Get a hold of me. You can join my... Right, I got kicked off of Facebook completely. Still don't know why, but it's for life. So I'm not going to be on there. But I do have a little in with one of the admins on 2 of my groups. One of them is called Angry Soccer Mom. It was always a platform for my videos. So if you feel like supporting me, say hello. And I'd love to, I can get personal messages there. And I'd love to know who you are. All right? So, and boy, can I talk. Boy, can I talk. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for bearing with me. It was a rough show, but thank you. Good night. It was a disaster. Night, everybody. Okay.